child, especially a preschooler or a first or second grader, is not going to have a lot of volume, because volume depends on the size of their body and how big they can open their mouth. And if you haven't already gotten that drift, then you need to go back and watch some of the previous video blogs about that. So by nature of the physicality of a young child, their voices are going to be pretty light. Consequently, in order to be able to match pitch, they have to hear themselves sing. So the lighter the voice is, the harder it is for them to hear. That, coupled with the fact that many times either in their worship service or their children's service, the music is so loud or the band is so loud that they probably cannot hear themselves sing. I have a really loud voice, and sometimes I can't hear myself sing when the music is too terribly loud. So it behooves us, how about that word, to make sure that when we are singing with younger children, we're singing with the appropriate accompaniment, either with a piano accompaniment or a cappella, or for example, like on the tracks for preschool presentations, they're very, very light, okay? So they're not something that's going to compete with the child's voice, and the child is going to be hearing a lot of melody line within that. If you're working with older children, just be sensitive that the tracks can have brass and the tracks can have percussion, but you want to have a solid melody line that goes about with it, and that the percussion and the brass, the louder instrumentation, falls in the holes when the kids are not singing. All right. Now, if we're wanting to help a child hear their own voice and be able to learn to match pitch, the easiest thing to do is put them in the corner, but that has really negative connotations. Also, you only have usually 4 corners to a room, and hopefully you have more than 4 children. So we're going to create our own little sound box. This is just a milk jug, and I've cut out the center, and I've cut out part of the bottom as well, because the child's chin has got to fit in here. But they're just going to place their mouth in here, and automatically, and my normal speaking voice is much, much louder because it's echoing back. So no matter how softly they sing, they're going to be able to hear themselves. And whenever I do that, I kind of feel like Hannibal Lecter or something like that. Whoa, okay. Another way that you can do that is with the tube of a vacuum cleaner, or this is even simpler. This is what's called a wind whistle, and you can get these at a toy store or Oriental Trading. This is actually one that's cut in half. They're about twice this long, and they make a tremendously annoying sound when you have the whole length of it. So you cut it in half, and you can use it in 3 different ways. First of all, you can let the child put it up to their ear and up to their mouth, and no matter how softly they sing or they speak, they hear it about 10 times louder through this end of the tube than they do without it. You can also put the tube up next to your mouth, and you can then put the tube next to the child's ear. And again, you want to speak or sing very, very softly, because again, it's going to magnify the sound. But that's a way, if a child is not matching pitch, that you can very quickly just kind of sing the pitches into their ear and hopefully bring them up to pitch. And then another way that you can do it is that you can actually listen to what they're singing. So for example, you're going to put the ear up to your ear and to their mouth, and depending on how far you're away from the child, at that point you might want the longer of the wind whistles. Now, this is a very discreet thing, because you're not saying why you're doing this, okay? Nobody has any idea what you're saying into this or what you're singing into this, and anytime you give a child a special attention, short of whacking them over the head with this thing, then all the other children are going to want the same attention. All right? Now, another way that you want to encourage children in matching pitch and singing out is where you place them within the room, okay? I always have trouble getting this straight. So it's really a good idea, if you have a child, for example, put a child that's an uncertain singer nearest to the piano or nearest to the CD player. Another thing to do is to put them right in the center so that the children around them are singing in toward them. And I always like to put my chairs in a horseshoe, and I always like to have an aisle here and an aisle here that I can cut through. So I have really 4 different ways I can go around the room. And if I have a child, my little child back here with the arrow through his head, that's my kid that's sort of the future Steve Martin, okay? And so I can just go and just gently tap him on the shoulder, let him know that I'm here. Hopefully my phone won't be ringing at the same time that I'm doing that. And then the last thing that it's accomplishing is classroom management. Because let's say that you have a child sitting here and his older sister or younger brother is sitting across the room, if he's sitting bus style, he can't see what the child is doing. But if he sees that someone across the room is misbehaving or not participating, he's either going to go home and tell his mother, or he is going to make the teacher aware. And so it's kind of a way that they police each other as well. Helps with classroom management, helps with matching pitch, and helping those uncertain singers.